Oral History Project at Holy Cross in New York City on April 14th, 1989. And I'm with Yevnige Koundakjian. Yevnige Koundakjian. Can you tell us your name?
My name is Yevnige Koundakjian, Berejiklian. And I was born in Aintab, 1908.
Okay. Can you tell me about your childhood a little bit?
My childhood, we were all the way from there. What shall I say now?
Take your time, it's okay. Want to tell me about where you lived, maybe, your house?
Yeah, we lived in the suburbs of Aintab, and I had two sisters and a brother, and when we were a happy family because and my grandfathers were very well-to-do, and my father was. Both my parents were college educated, and we went to the kindergarten. I remember that, and then when the war broke up at 1914. Well, we started seeing some soldiers come to around our places, and armies. They were training, and my mother. They used to be very hungry, very thirsty. So my mother used to put a big can of water there and tie a cup so that they would drink. I remember this.
How old were you then?
I was about 5 years old. 5. And then, but we were afraid to stay in that suburb. Then we went into the town. We rented a house into the town.
Tell me about your house in in the suburb first, a little bit.
It had a big orchard, yeah, and we had a dog, and there were, yeah.
How many rooms were in the house?
I don't know, maybe. I remember, I think it was up and down, and we had 3 rooms upstairs, and downstairs we had the living room.
Did you have your own bedroom?
No, we 3. We kids had our bedroom. Yeah.
You had 2 sisters?
Well, I have 2 sisters.
What were their names?
No, my name. One is Alberta, and one is Vehanush. And my brother's name is Ohannes.
So you all lived in this big house together?
Yeah, we all lived in this big house together. Then we went to the town. We rented a house in the town.
Why did you move to the town?
Because these soldiers were being trained in around. So my father used to go to work, and mother was a bit nervous. So we went to that place.
Downtown?
Downtown.
How old were you when you moved?
I must have been 5, I think.
And what was...
then the war was there. They started taking all our some of the men were being taken to the army. My father was supposed to go to army, but At that time, if they paid a ransom, they used to give them a pass so that they couldn't go. So my father gave that pass, had that pass. And then, you know, all the Armenians were becoming very fearful. But still nothing was happening.
So this was 1913 maybe?
No, this is not 1915, 1914 to 15. 1915, they started to deport us. First, they said that all the Protestants can stay here. So then they sent some, deported some. And then they started sending some of the Protestants also, deporting. They gave them only 15 days to get ready.
How many days?
15, 2 weeks. This time, all my grandfathers had that staples. They had horses. So all the horses were taken away to the government, start taking things like that. But then my both grandfathers' paper for deportation came with their families. Then my mother said that since they didn't send us paper, so my mother said that since they are going, let us go also. So they allowed us to get some mules for transportation. So we had we got ready, and they allowed us as much as luggage we can take.
Who was it that was with you and your family?
Oh, my sister and my brother.
And your mother and father?
And my yeah.
What's your mother and father's name?
My mother's name is Saliha.
Saliha?
Mm-hmm.
And your father's name?
Harutun.
So you went with both your grandfathers?
Yeah, we both grandfathers and their families, some uncles and all that.
Were the grandfathers your mother's father and your father's father?
Yeah.
So you went together with your mules?
And the mules were, and they put me, they had a donkey for my sister and me, and they tied two boxes. So they put on one box me, and on the other box my sister, and we went, and my mother was on a horse.
How about your
with
brother?
My brother was with my mother because he was only a year old. So
where did they tie the boxes on you?
On each side. On each side.
And what was in them?
Me and my mother. You know those wooden boxes?
Oh, you sat in the boxes.
Yeah, we sat in the boxes.
I see.
So, but on the way, we met some refugees in terrible, terrible position. Only women and children, and they were hungry. Their feet were all swollen, and they were coming all the way from north, Sivas and Zeytun.
How do you know that?
But we talked to them. I mean,
they told you?
They told. And my father and mother got down, and you see, they were coming from another, and they united with our group. Then my mother and my father got down from their horses and put some of them on that, and also even us, they took us down, the little girls, us, and put some children in those boxes. And whatever food we had, my father gave it to them. We went a little with those people, but then the gendarmes separated them. They sent them to another place.
The refugees?
These refugees who had come from the north.
Who came to separate them?
The gendarmes. And we gendarmes were leading us already. So we went to a place like this, Arjagoin, they say, another town.
How do you say the town again?
Arjagoin.
Okay.
And there, they put us on the trains in where they put the luggage in these trains. They put us all in there. And we came to Aleppo.
So that's your journey?
No, so in Aleppo we were all surrounded by the gendarmes. We couldn't leave into the town. There,
how long was your journey from Aintab to Aleppo?
We stayed only overnight, I think. I can't remember that.
Did it take you?
I think it is the same day.
It took you one day to go from Aintab to Aleppo?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I don't remember that.
Let's go back a little bit and talk a little bit more about the very first place you lived in, the suburbs back outside of Aintab, and the village. Were there a lot of
It wasn't a village. There were only 4 houses.
4 houses? And
Yeah.
were they Armenians?
Armenians. And no, very first time, the very, very first time, which I hardly remember, we lived with my grandfathers, all the uncles, all the other uncles and aunts and us. They had a big house. Each family had a room and a little room, so that but we all ate together. There was they used to have trays like this, copper trays, and we all sat together, sometimes 20 people, and there weren't china, but we had a special copper bowls for soup and open ones, plates, copper plates for rice and things. And we all sat together. My grandfather used to pray.
Did they have servants in this
Oh
house?
yeah, we had several servants.
And was it just
each family. You see, my family had a servant, and my uncle had a servant, and there was also 2 men who used to do this servant.
Were there a lot of floors in the house?
No, there weren't. It was only, there was a courtyard. You walk, there was a stairs from the courtyard. In that courtyard, there were the stables where the horses stayed, and there was a big hall where the villagers came, because my grandfather was a landowner, and he had villages. From these villages he started, he used to get all the products, pistachio nut and raisins and all sorts of things.
Did they have a farm in the area?
Yeah.
What did they grow?
No
farm?
Not in the town, but in the village they had, I suppose they were farms.
Do you know what they grew?
Mostly pistachio nut and grapes and wheat, of course. And these villagers used to bring those, and they used to stay overnight at this place, at the courtyard, with the courtyard.
In the house, did you have carpeting or dirt
Oh,
floors?
sure.
Or
No, all carpeting. All carpeting.
How about
that
your kitchen?
We didn't also, but we didn't have bedsteads. We used to roll the mattresses, and this is all the way back. Roll the mattresses, and then the mattresses were rolled back and put. There were big closets. They used to be put there, but there used to be canapes covered with rugs and cushions. And
how about your kitchen? What was the kitchen like?
Oh yeah, kitchen was very primitive. It was stone floor. There were no sinks. There they used to wash it on the floor. I mean, they used to have a pan, you know. Well, also there wasn't running water. Also, it had to be brought in.
Was it in the village? A well?
No. It was in the house. In the house. No, there was a, what do you call that?
A well?
Well and
pump.
Pump, yeah, in the kitchen. What else? We didn't have baths. You mean to say I have to tell all these things?
Anything
before?
that you think
There were no baths in the houses. So every fortnight we used to go to public baths. Well, the real bath. But we used to, of course, sponge baths and things was done at home. And these baths were a special occasion. If several families used to have a special day, and they used to hire a certain part of the bath, public bath, and so others couldn't come, and there used to be food. The food was to be taken there, and you see, you go to the steamy part, and then you can come out to the cooler part, and there there used to be a special food. It was a very special occasion, and all the towels were embroidered and things. They used to cover their hair.
Was this the whole family or just
the whole
adults?
Family?
Oh, the whole family.
The whole family, and the boys, until the little boys also used to be taken, but not when they grow up. They go with their fathers.
That's interesting. What anything else you have to say about your home life in the first home?
Home life.
What did the children do? What did you do all day? Did you play games?
Oh yeah, of course we used to play games. We had friends used to go from one to the other family, and the school, of course. We used to go to school.
What was your
Sunday
school like?
was, huh?
What was your school like?
School, I didn't, you see, I didn't have much. I had been only to the kindergarten. Well, it was nice. Little chairs and little desk. And
were you learning Armenian or Turkish?
Yeah, Armenian and Turkish also. We had Turkish literature, not in Armenian letters, with Armenian letters, Turkish, and mostly all the homes used to talk Turkish. Turkish was there.
You would speak Turkish at home?
Yeah.
And you only used Armenian at school?
Well, at that time I was too young. No, of course the kids used to talk Turkish also, but we were supposed to learn Armenian too. Yeah.
You said your parents were both educated.
Yeah,
They went to college. What
yeah.
did your mother and father study?
They didn't, just the college course at that time. I mean, there wasn't that. There was an American missionary college in Aintab, so
they went in Aintab?
He went to in Aintab. In Aintab there was another girls' school, which used to be called seminary, girls' seminary. That was sort of a high school. But then in Marash, there was the college, girls' college. So my mother, after she finished her seminary, she went to college there. She was a graduate from that college.
And what did she do? Was she just had general courses?
Yeah, general courses. They couldn't really have.
She had no profession?
Professions. No, no, that was like a finishing school.
And how about your father?
My
what did
father
he
was, he also just studied the usual college courses. But then he went into business.
And what did he do?
At that time, they didn't have banks. There was a main bank, but people used to go to these small banks. And my father, like money changers, my father had that. He used to exchange money, lend money, and there was no paper at that time, paper money. He used to get the money from the bank with the porter, on the porter's bag.
And were there a lot of different people coming through Aintab with money that they needed his service? Or
No,
was it mostly Armenians?
Yeah, well, Armenians and Turks, and that was in the town. No, this was not outsiders.
You said your grandfather was a landowner, and people came to help work, and your parents were educated, and you were well off. Were you looked upon differently in the community as being richer than others, or was everyone the same in the village where you lived?
In the town.
In the town, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, of course, like everywhere else, you have your own people. Yeah.
Okay.
It was also quite church-oriented.
Was there a church in Aintab?
Oh, yeah. There were 3 churches in Aintab.
Do you remember the names at all?
They used to call it first church and second church, and there was another third one. These are the Protestant, but there was the Apostolic Church, a big one, really beautiful one.
Do you remember the name of that church?
No, this.
You said you went to Sunday school. Did you go to the Protestant Sunday school or
Protestant.
the Apostolic?
No, Protestant.
And for how long were you in Sunday school?
I don't know.
You don't remember?
Well, until we came out until we were deported.
You said you moved from the suburbs of Aintab to the town. And
you see, we first lived with my grandfather.
Right.
When my brother was born, the family was larger. So we moved from my grandfather's house to this suburb house. There were 4 houses there. And so from there we went back to the town. And from there we came we were deported from there.
So in 1913 you went to the town?
No, 1914.
tell me a little bit more about the people that you saw going to Syria, what they looked like, what they were wearing?
They were in rags, and they were so tired, so miserable, thirsty, hungry, and the gendarmes separated them from us, and they have been taken to another place. We first thought that they were taken and all lost, but apparently afterwards we heard that they have been taken to a village where the village elder, whatever they call, Mustasarif, treated them so well, so they survived. This is what we heard, yeah.
You said you spoke to them. What did they tell you?
They did. Well, I don't quite.
Were you too small?
Huh? Yeah, I was too small. But these things I heard from my father, from my mother, that they had been walking all through and being robbed, they had to leave some of their children on the way because they couldn't carry them, and they were forced to walk.
Was there sickness? Were the people sick?
Well, they might have been, but I don't know.
What happened when you got to Aleppo?
They surrounded us, the convoy that we went. They surrounded us, the gendarmes. Up till now, if I see a policeman, I get a bit nervous.
You remember that?
Yeah.
You remember seeing them when you were
Yeah, gendarmes. We used to be very much afraid of gendarmes. So they surrounded us. They wouldn't let us to go outside the circle. But my aunt brought us food there, who used to live in Aleppo. Her husband was a doctor who was taken by the army, and so she was privileged to stay in the town. So she brought us some food, kebab and this nice food. So we ate, but then they wouldn't let us stay in Aleppo. They sent us to Hama.
And what did you do
Hama. Again, we were surrounded. They wouldn't let us to go out of surroundings. Then.
Were you sleeping on the streets all this time?
No,
we
on the ground. On the ground. People, you know, they let us take our luggage, bales. We had our beddings and some clothing and so on. So we didn't sleep there. So if you gave them money to the gendarmes, they would let you out. So several families who could afford, they let us out. And
did your grandfather give them the money, or your father?
My father and my grandfather, and yeah.
The whole family?
The whole family. So we went into, we rented some houses. So
in Hama?
In Hama, yeah.
And how old would you say you were then when you were in Hama?
I think I must have been 7. 6, 7.
And how long did you stay there?
How long did we stay? We stayed there quite some time. You know, we didn't go there with permission. Lots of people were out there in the outside in the desert, but some families. We were 4 families that went to this house. Each family had each two family had a room.
So two families lived in one room?
Yeah, but there was a courtyard, a big courtyard. So we, of course, we were mostly in the courtyards. So we had to be on the lookout for the gendarmes to come, and because we were fugitives. So the children were posted so that through some holes or something to see if any gendarme was coming.
What would they ask you? Would they ask you for papers?
Yeah, they would immediately take us out. But then it loosened. I mean, then it was quite, we became quite free.
Were there a lot of Armenians in Hama with you?
Yeah, quite a few Armenians.
And what did you do? Did they work, or did you just hide?
Not yet, no. They tried to survive. Then they told us that certain people had to go to a village called Selimiye. So we went to Selimiye.
So you left your home in Hama?
We left our place in Hama. We took to Selimiye.
Who told you you could leave?
The government, I think, they said that your mutasarrif, your whatever, mutasarrif, is in Selimiye, so you have to go there. So, especially, I think they said the Protestants can go down. The Protestants were supposed to be less dangerous in the Turks' eyes.
Than whom?
Than the apostolics. So but afterwards, everybody came there. Many came there. We even had this father of Archbishop Nirsoyan. Yeah. He was with us in Selimiye. And so everybody, that was a very nice place. Everybody started, many people started a little bit of business. Some people worked for the Arabs. Arabs were very nice, but there came many widows and children who had been orphaned and who had come all the way from above, like Savas, like Zeytun and such places. It was, I remember of course, everything was very expensive, but we had money. By the way, when we were deported, my mother had sewed gold coins all around our clothes, and she had also her jewelry. So nobody, it was safe. They didn't rob us, really. So my parents were selling this, whatever money they used to have, and one by one, and that's how we were surviving.
What did your father do in Selimiye?
Nothing.
He didn't work? They just sold the coins to get money?
Yeah, but he sold the coins. He used to, he couldn't do any work.
And your grandfather?
And
those with you?
Some people who had trades, they could do some work, but those who, like my father, they couldn't do anything there. But the people were very friendly there.
Did the Armenians help each other?
The Armenians help each other. Yeah, I remember my father used to go and get a big basket of bread, and we used to cut it into two. And in the morning, these orphans and women used to come, and he used to give them. Then the bread became very, very expensive. He started giving them çökelek, some when they are making butter, there is a remainder of
the butter when you make it.
No, it's not yogurt. When they make yogurt,
like the
some
ton
sort
of
of
water?
it's like boiled milk or something that curdles. Yeah, he started giving this to these people who used to come in the morning, and then he couldn't afford to give that also. It was miserable.
How long were you in Selemiye?
For I think 3 years. I think so. I don't remember that how long. Then we had to go back to Hama.
Who told you you had to go back to Hama?
I don't know. Nobody told us, but it was so. It was impossible financially to stay there. So when we went to Hama, my father became a fugitive. He couldn't pay the money not to go to the army, so he was in hiding.
How far, how many kilometers is Selemiye to Hama? Do you remember? Is it more than a day's drive or a walk?
No, not a day's drive, half a day's maybe.
So your father couldn't pay for anymore to
and
stay out of
he
the
went
army?
into hiding. But the people used to know, some gendarmes used to know that he was hiding. Every month, they used to give him some money. They used to come for money so that he wouldn't be reported. Then he started doing something. You know, there is the leather for the shoes has to be polished. So somebody used to bring it to him there, and he used to do polishing by rubbing. So he used to get a little bit money from that. And then there was a German mission work who through Americans, they used to send some money for these orphans. So they asked my mother to look after this mission work. The mission work was the kids. There was a big hall like this, a hall like half like this, and they used to stay there, and they used to be given a loaf of bread every day, and sometimes in the evening there used to be some sort of soup. The rest of the time they used to go and look after themselves.
So your mother watched this?
So my mother
mission?
was responsible for this. I don't know what we used to get. I think we used to get also bread in exchange to this.
For helping the missionaries?
To do mission work. There was no missionary, but this was only this work was done.
Were they mostly children that would come?
Yeah, they're mostly children.
And did you play with them?
Yeah, we played with them. We played not very much. They were very miserable.
Were they Armenian young
children? Yeah, the Armenian children. By and by, hunger became so bad. They used to, every morning, there was a cart. He used to gather these people who have died.
At the mission?
No. This is
in Hama?
In Hama. And they used to get them and take them. And there was a big hole. They used to throw them there. Yeah. The hunger was very bad in Hama. But people, they didn't really kill us. Yeah. And some people could work. but these orphans and widows were miserable.
Did you always live on the streets and take the bedding out, or did you ever have a
No,
home
no, we had a home.
in Hama when you went back?
Yeah, we had a home. And we used to live in the home.
Just your family, or was your
No.
grandfathers with you still?
No, they were in another home.
What happened? You said you went back to Aintab.
Oh, we went back to Aintab. You know, the English came.
When? Do you remember how old you were then?
I must have been maybe from 6, 8. I must have been 10, huh? Yeah, 10 maybe.
So
yeah.
you were in Aleppo
Yeah.
for a few years?
No, this is from Hama. We went back to Aintab. The war finished, and we went back to Aintab. And in Aintab, we went to our houses. All the woodwork was taken, and the windows were broken, and so we repaired them, and we came back
To your old house?
to our old house. No, not to the house that we came. We went back to my grandfather's house.
Who told you you could go back to Aintab in
Oh, well, because the war was finished and we were free now to go. We went back. But then, well, everybody started getting organized a little bit. And we had schools opened. We went to school. By the way, when we were in deportation, my mother had taken some books, school books, and she used to teach us
how to read?
How to read and how to do, yeah. So when we went back, nobody, mostly there was no school for the Armenians. So, but we went and they opened the schools, and we were in schools.
Did your father go back to his
Well,
old work? The bank?
No, he started. Yeah, he wanted to do, but he started to some of the money that he had lent to people. He was trying to get that and so on. But it wasn't very successful.
So how did your father get money?
Yeah, well,
how did you
sort
live?
of, yeah. Well, I don't know how, but we were not doing too bad. And after a year already, there was again the French. You see that French was there when we went. That part was given to French, and then French they started to withdraw. When they withdrew, the Turks became again very hostile.
So when you went back to Aintab, the French were there, and then you stayed there for a while, and then the French left and the Turks
And
came?
then they started going. I mean, the Turks were there already, but when the French was leaving, the Turks became hostile. And you must have heard that how do you say,
they tried to convert you?
No, they didn't try to convert. They started massacres again. In other towns, for instance, in Marash, they did a massacre. And the people in Aintab sensed that we were going to have the same thing. So they started secretly getting ready to put up if the Turks came and killed us again.
The
Aintab people. So they started making some ammunition and making some plans when it starts to be ready. So April 1st, they started coming to the Armenian sections, and quickly people put up walls and got behind the walls and started firing them back.
How do you know it was April 1st? Do you
Because
just remember, or someone told you?
It is. I mean, it's with us. So we fought.
Who organized this? Was there a
Yeah.
political party in Aintab, or just a group
No,
of people?
young people. There was a special man called Adur Levonyan, who had been in the British Army. He knew something about this cell, about army. And he had some friends also, old and the young people who could do.
Was there any
Sure.
political groups in the area?
There is always an Armenian community, but no, everybody was united in
And
this.
everyone helped with the Turks? when they
Everybody
came?
was, yeah.
And what happened?
And then it went on for how long? 8 years? I don't remember now how long.
For a few months,
yeah.
maybe, or a few
Oh,
weeks?
more,
For almost a year, maybe?
Yeah.
They
more.
fought.
Yeah,
Trying,
they fought, yeah.
What were they trying to do? Come and take
Come
over
and-
Aintab, or?
We were in Aintab, come and kill us. But they resisted.
Did you stay
they-
always in Aintab?
Yeah,
Were you threatened? Did you want to leave?
we couldn't leave. We couldn't leave because it was very dangerous. We didn't have meat. We didn't have vegetables, milk, such things. But everybody, they it's inspected every home. If you had more than you need, or not more than enough that you should be having, they used to be taken and given to the others.
Who used to take the?
They made a sort of a government,
The Armenians?
the
did?
Armenians.
So that everyone would have
Yeah,
some.
and at that time, my grandfather's pistachio nuts had come in great quantity. So we used to, and that was also started to be given out. So we used to cook with pistachio nut because there was no oil or butter. We used to make food with that.
What did you eat during that time? You said there was no meat.
Cereals.
Mhm.
I mean, bulgur and lantern, such things.
And when did the fighting finally stop? What happened?
Oh,
Did people
the
stay or leave?
No, they in the end, they came in, what do you say? Peace. They made peace to understanding.
How long did you stay in Aintab? How much longer did you stay there?
No, as soon as that finished, we said that we cannot trust Turks anymore, so we went to Syria.
Mhm. Syria?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
We almost no Armenians remained there. We went to Syria.
And do you remember what year that was?
1921.
So you went back to Syria for the
Yeah.
second time.
Oh yeah, this is on our own account. The Aleppo. We went to Aleppo, not to Hama. We had also family there. So we stayed there. The Armenians, there there were the big portion of Armenians. They had barracks. They used to. That was also a bad time.
They used to have what?
They built barracks, tin barracks, wooden barracks, and they used to live in most of the Armenians. They used to live in there, but they gradually they started getting out into the house. They started work and those barracks. No, we didn't go into the barracks. We had in a house. We were in a house. So, and there were the schools. We started going to schools.
Do you remember the name of your school in Aleppo?
In Aleppo, it was the American girls' school.
And where did your brother go to school, Ohannes?
Ohannes went also. No, first we went to primary schools were in Armenian, so he went there. But I went to this high school.
And your sister too?
My sister too, and.
Did you graduate from the school?
Yeah, I graduated from that school, and then I wanted to go to nursing school, and my family objected. My family, when I say family, all aunts, uncles, and all those people objected. How can you go, a girl like this, to go to nursing school? But I insisted, and my mother was also willing that I go and take a profession. But meanwhile, I was a helper for a year to a kindergarten teacher.
In Aleppo?
In Aleppo, and then I went to nursing school in Beirut.
You moved to Beirut?
No, I moved. My family was in Aleppo, but I went as student to nursing school.
What school did you go to?
To American University hospitals, nursing school.
So how old were you when you went to Beirut?
I was 18.
And how long were you in Beirut?
I was, from there on, I was in Beirut there. It took 3 years to graduate the nursing school, and then I worked in the hospital.
In Beirut?
In Beirut, in that hospital, university hospital.
What happened to your family in Aleppo?
For some time they were in Aleppo. My father used to try to work a little bit, but then they moved to Beirut.
They came
my
with you?
My sister also became a nurse, and then she married, and then my family also came to Beirut.
And your brother?
And my brother came to Beirut.
How about your grandfathers? Were they with you all this
time?
time?
Oh no, my grandfathers died during the resistance. Yeah, a natural die. We had only a few young men who died during the resistance, but there were many casualties in the Turkish side.
But your grandfathers died a natural death?
No, yeah, he was 84, so.
So your family was in Beirut, and your sister and brother came with you, and then what did you do? You worked at a hospital, you said?
And then I got married.
And what's your husband's name?
My husband's name was Albert Koundakjian. He was in the college also.
And what was he studying?
He was studying history, but he became a math teacher. For 40 years he taught math.
So how long were you in Beirut for? You went at 18, and how long did you live there?
I lived there until 34, 1934.
And what did you do then?
I was married, and my husband was a teacher in Alexandrita, so we went to Alexandrita.
Did your family stay in Beirut with you?
Yeah, they were in.
Time?
Yeah, they were there.
did you always nurse in a hospital?
Yeah, I was all the time in the hospital while I was, but afterwards we came back to, when we started the family, we came back to Beirut. There was a Burmana, there was a town in the mountains, a school, British school. My husband worked there, and I was the school nurse there.
Was there a large Armenian community in Beirut when you got there?
Oh, yeah.
To the school?
Yeah.
Did you do anything with the community or the churches?
Yeah.
Were you involved? What did you do?
No.
Did you
No.
help with anything or
No.
become involved?
No, not especially.
You just basically worked as a nurse.
Nurse.
And
And I enjoyed myself.
was your husband involved at all in the church? Or?
No, not especially.
You said as you were growing up a lot, there was a difference between the Protestants and the Apostolics. Was your background in Armenia, were you a Protestant?
Yeah, background. But my grandfathers, they were converted to Protestants. Yeah, when the Protestants came. Yeah.
What happened after Beirut? Where did you go after that?
After that, when I was married, yeah, we went to Alexandretta. It is it. And after Alexandretta, we came back to Beirut. The Alexandretta was was not under British, but then it was given to the Turks. As soon as it was given to the Turks, all the Armenians left there, and they were dispersed, and we came to Beirut, and my husband taught there in that British school.
When did you come to the United States?
1958.
And why did you come?
Why did we come? Because my husband was teaching in an American community school in Beirut. He was the vice principal there. But then we had contacted, we knew many Armenian. We had made friends with many American. So one of the teachers who taught with him here in Filston High School, Ethical Culture High School, he wrote and said that if you want to come to the United States, I have work for you. So we came. Meanwhile, my daughter had wanted to come and had applied to finish her college here in this country.
Let's. You have children. You had children when you were in Beirut.
Oh yeah.
How many children?
2 children. I had a daughter and a son.
And what are their names?
One is Dora. The other one is Philip.
And they came with you?
No, my daughter came before us to go to college. Then when we heard that this fellow asked us to come, we thought that once she comes here, she will never return. So we said, since there is a position for us ready, so we came also. We took, with our son, we came here. And then my daughter was really very angry. She said, why did you have to come here? I was going to come back. Beirut was a beautiful place, lovely place.
So you lived in New York?
So we've been in New York ever since, and he worked there until he retired. Now I lost him.
Are your children still here with you?
Yeah, no, not with me here.
Not in the city?
My daughter lives in Washington, D.C. My son lives with his family in Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa.
Can you tell me about what activities and people you were involved with when you came to New York? besides your teaching profession and the nursing profession?
Well, I worked as a school nurse in one of the private schools, Riverdale Country School, until I retired. You see, it wasn't very easy for us to do much work than outside.
Your profession was demanding, so it was hard.
Yeah, and home and.
Did you interact with the Armenian community in New York?
Yeah.
Did you go to church?
Yeah, we went to the church. We belonged to this 34th church on Lexington.
What's the name of the church?
It's Armenian Evangelical Church in 34th Street. Mostly also because of our work, we were in other in other activities. But I can't say that I really did much outside my.
Your field. What was life like for your family and your children growing up here in New York after?
Well, they haven't been able. My daughter went away for college, and then when she came back, she also went to Harvard. She took linguistics, and then she went to Washington. There she met her husband, and she's been working there in Applied Linguistics Center. My son went to. It was the war. He had to go to the war, but he wasn't sent to. He was sent to Europe, fortunately. So he stayed there on and off.
When you first came to New York, did you have any difficulties having an Armenian background? Were you ever discriminated against?
No, we didn't.
You had no problem?
No, we had no problem at all. We were accepted. You see, I was sort of familiar with American community.
So you felt comfortable?
Yeah, I felt comfortable.
Did your experience on the deportations through Syria, do you have any feelings about that now? Do you think about it a lot?
Oh, sure.
Do you dream about it?
Dream, but of course we still think about it, and we feel about it.
Do you ever have any blame?
People lost. We have families who have been lost.
Do you ever blame anyone? Do you ever feel it's...
Blame anyone?
The Turk?
Of course.
Vengeance?
Vengeance.
How do you feel?
Vengeance, well, I'd say I don't have enemies, but of course the Turks are no friends to us.
Have you spoken about this with your children?
Yeah.
Your stories and things
stories,
that have happened,
and then they always tell me to record it, but I haven't done it yet. But they know so many stories, and then sometimes they finish. When we say the story, they finish the rest.
Have you been listening about the news of the Karabakh Committee and the Karabakh territory?
Yeah, sure.
Do you have any
I have
comments
family.
on that, or do you have family there?
Yeah, I have family in Soviet Armenia and Leningrad. I haven't heard from them yet. But
have you kept in touch with them for years?
Yeah. We went to see them.
When?
1977. Yeah. Karabakh, yeah, we feel very strongly about it too, because we know how to live with the Turks, under Turks. They really, it's only fair that they get separated from the Turks.
You said you have relatives in Soviet Armenia.
Yeah, I have my first cousin and his daughters. One of his daughters is. They lived in Leningrad, and we don't know what happened to them.
Since the earthquake, you mean?
Since the earthquake, yeah. And the daughter is a teacher. Was teaching. She's a physicist.
What's your cousin's names in Armenia?
In Levon Berejiklian. Oh yeah, we keep close touch with them.
Have you ever gone back to Aintab ever since you came back to the United States?
No.
Do you ever wish to go back?
I wished to go, but there wasn't opportunity. When I went back, I went to Aleppo. My sister lives in Aleppo still. So there was that time the Armenians were not being permitted to go, whereas I would have loved to go and see the place again.
Where does Ohannes live now?
In Beirut. Ohannes has he has a factory there, but steel work.
And what happened to you?
We couldn't persuade him to come.
What happened to your parents after they were in?
Oh yeah, they died in Beirut, between 1950s, one after the other.
If you had something from your experiences that you've had, if you had something to tell the younger generation Armenians or a message, what would you tell them? Do you have anything to say that you'd like people to remember, a message to give?
Yeah, not to forget our heritage. I try very much to my grandchildren, tell them that they are Armenians and they have to be proud of, and how they have survived. Yeah.
Have the grandchildren learned Armenian? Have you helped them?
Not much. I try. Oh, yeah. You see, they have to hear it. So the ones in Washington, they know a little, because we go. My husband and I, we used to go a lot. Their father is American, so there wasn't much spoken Armenian. The ones in Iowa, there are no Armenians, and their mother is English, so they don't have much of it. But at least we try to teach them what their heritage is. Their names are in Armenian, the ones in Iowa. So
that's important to you.
That's important to us, and that's how they know that they are Armenians. They are a little different. Sometimes they get into trouble. They told me. I said, why? They said, you are Armenian. Their name is Armenian. You see, it's a little bit Koundakjian, and apparently they are being made fun of and so on. So I tell them that they shouldn't be ashamed of it, and they get along. Enough?
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay.
Well,
See, that
I
wasn't
wish.
hard.
No, I wish I had been told before and I had prepared.
You wanted to write something? You still can if you want.
Well, this is enough.
What would you have prepared?
Huh?
What would you
Well, more orderly, you know. This is here and there. I
Yeah.
don't know what you're going to do with this. Is it going to be of any use?
Very much.
Is there anything you haven't said that we haven't asked?
Yeah.
No, when I go home, I will remember. I'll say, oh, I should have said.
Are there any memories?
Listen,
of your childhood?
there is one instance. When we were in Selimiye, they told us that all the Armenians have to go to mosques, and they have to say Al Ilallah, Allah Ilallah. They have to become Turks. Well, or else they would be deported. Each family's member into different places. It was terrifying, you know. But my father and my mother, they said they couldn't do this. At the time, we were in the home of, in the house. We had rented a place of the qadi, the judge. And my father was very amusing. He knew Turkish. The man was Turk, and my father and he became friends. And so this man has gone and given names to each one of us, Turkish names, and has written in the book as Turks. Without my parents going into the mosque.
What was your name?
Huh?
What was your name?
My name is Lutfiya. My sister's name is Behiye. My mother's name are already is Turkish name. I don't know what he gave to my father, Mahmed or Ahmed, I don't know.
And your brother?
And my brother, maybe it's a name. Anyway, I don't remember, but this was something really. I don't know if I would be able to do that for my religion. I mean, when this thing. But of course, the Armenians also went there. Several people they prayed in Armenian, but somehow this was done. Some Turks were very nice. There was also one instance when, at the height of deportations, when some people were trying to go to Aleppo, from Hama to Aleppo, because it was still very undecided what were they going to do us in Aleppo, in Hama. So we had family, privileged family. My uncle being a doctor in the army, his family was free to be in Aleppo. So they thought that if my mother and the children go to Aleppo, we would be safe there with them. So my mother was going to be dressed like a Turkish lady, and we were also dressed like Turkish little girls. We were going to go to Aleppo, So my mother had a face covered with azar, you know, those. And a carriage came to the house, and mother and the 3 children, we went into, and my father told to the man that to wait, it was fortunate, to wait until we were safely in the train to come back and to report him. So what does my mother says? My mother went to the window, and there was a young officer there. He said, what is your name? She said, Saliha. Saliha is Turkish. What is your husband's name? She said, Artin. How Armenian can you be? We were supposed to go as officers' family. She couldn't say, you know, she couldn't lie. And this man turned around and said, Madam, you are Armenian. She said, yes. She said, you know what I could do with you? I could send you directly to their ZOR. And how did you dare to do this? Take your children and go home. Can you imagine such a nice man? So my mother, she held us, and we came to the carriage. Fortunately, the carriage was there. And my mother started crying. She was crying. So we went home. It was something like this I never forget. And we stayed in Hamadan. Some Turks were not that bad, but some Turks were bad. They are bad. But twice they did this to us, you know.
Twice they did what?
Saved us.
What was the second time?
The first time. But we saw such miseries. We ourselves, we were not hungry. We were not, but those miseries that others had, those children, those sick women. You know, there was typhus, and typhus is transmitted by lice. So the lice were, you would see everywhere lice. There was nobody that didn't have lice. My husband's father was a minister, and he had the option to be free, but he wouldn't. He belonged to Kesap. Have you heard of that? Yeah, he was Kesapci, and so he went with his with all the Kesapcis to Hama, and so he had the option to go to Selimiye and be free there, but he wouldn't. He stayed there, and he used to take these women to the public baths. Sometimes on his back, just to wash so that they can be free out there. You used to see the lice going over them.
Why did you decide to become a nurse?
Why? Because, you know, at that time in Aleppo, there was nothing else for the women to be, except to be a teacher. I was telling my family was so much against my going, and they thought that nursing is below us.
Would teaching have been okay?
Huh?
Would they agree to teaching?
Oh, yeah. But I wanted to become a nurse.
Why?
Just to have a profession.
You don't think it had anything to do with the experience you had?
No,
No.
no.
What do you think would have happened to you if there were no deportations?
During
You had remained in Eindhoven.
they would have sent us to their zor.
No, if there was everything was okay, no war, no deportation, nothing.
Oh, well, we were very comfortable. I suppose I would be sent also, I would be sent to have the highest education that was possible for me to have that time. You see, my mother had that education, so. You have been hearing such stories, huh? You must be very patient.
Oh, we enjoy it.
We wouldn't do it if we didn't like it. That's why we ask so many questions, because we want to know. You don't have anything else to tell us?
Well, I took
You remember when you leave the door.
when I go home, yeah.
Write it down and send it to us.
Liz, there are books written about that.
Sure, there are a lot of books.
There are a lot of books, yeah.
And Filip Hovnanian is your nephew?
Yeah. No, not my nephew, my cousin, my first
Your
cousin. My maternal cousin. And my husband's paternal cousin.
Oh, relatives, huh?
My aunt has married to his, my aunt to his uncle. Yeah. Okay? That's it?
If you're happy, we're happy. Are you happy?
Yeah, fine. I enjoyed it, thank you. Was this all the recorded? Even this later on? How do I sound?
So amazed by this big recording.
No,
I
I
wish we
mean,
had a TV,
I.
we would have shown it to you.
Huh?
I wish we had a TV here.
Then you could see it.
I'm not good
That's
at.
very good. She looks wonderful, I'm sure. It's just that blue I don't like.
It's like right here.
Are you going to be coming at the Sunday event we have at 4 p.m.
Where?
at the diocese? Well, not the church, but one of the halls.
Yeah. What is it?
We're going to show parts of the interviews, and we're going to give certificates of appreciation to our survivors. Thank them for telling us their story.
If I can, it's not easy for me to.
I know.
You know, since I have very bad back problem. Besides, I had the hip operation, so it's not very easy for me to go up and down and traveling. So if I can, I'd love to.
Okay. We'll
Which
give you
Sunday is this?
This
I think-
Sunday.
2 days.
2 days, in 2 days. I'll see
Okay.
if I can. It was
Okay.
very nice meeting
Thank
you.
you.
You too.
want-